Hey solos, so you want to go to Epcot all by yourself and you want to hear what it is like to go to Epcot solo. Well, I have a great episode for you because not only am I talking about my own experiences going to Epcot solo, but I have three people to come and talk about their experiences too, and I cannot wait to share this episode with you. Hi everyone, it is Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but you do because you know that this is the Disney Solo Magic Podcast, which is the number one podcast for solo travel to Disney World. And we are now in our third year. Incredible. Incredible. So, as a way to celebrate our third anniversary, I have brought together people to have these panel discussions on all of the different parks. Magic Kingdom was last week, Epcot is this week. Next week, actually, it's going to be my episode from Epcot, which is very, very exciting. And then the week after that, we'll talk about Hollywood Studios, etc., etc. But I forgot to introduce myself in all of the episodes. So I'm doing it now before the actual introduction that I recorded. I also want to let you know that you can watch this conversation. Just go over to Patreon, become a free member, and then that will get you the link to the YouTube video. It's just a way so I don't have to do all this stuff without making it public. And if you're a Patreon paid member, then you can watch the longer version that has our controversial hot take. So anyway, let's go over to the introduction and then this great, fun panel episode, which was just amazing. So you want to go to Disney World all by yourself and you want to go to Epcot. Chef's kiss. Who doesn't want to go to Epcot when you're going solo? I have brought together three amazing people. One is a Disney adult newbie. The second person is a friend of the podcast and a travel agent. And the third also is an out-of-state annual pass holder. And I brought them together so that we could talk about Epcot, the things that we love, the rides, our ride strategies, the places that we just like to go and sit and get all the vibes, and the foods that we like. And then we also have some controversial hot takes, which we have saved for those people on Patreon. So please go and enjoy our video. If you want to see the longer version, you go to Patreon. The link is below, but also please, please, please follow all of them. And it's down below. April, Monica, Francine. It was just amazing to have this conversation with these three women, and I really, really appreciated it. You can follow this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. You can listen to this as audio. You can watch these ones, which is really cool because we are celebrating the third birthday of the podcast, which is really, really awesome. Again, Patreon below for the extended version. And thank you so much for listening. We can get right into it. And I just realized this is the last panel. I've recorded the 4 panels now, which has just been amazing. And I just realized in all of the introductions that I've done, I haven't introduced myself. So Samantha. Love may not know who Samantha is, but you do if you are watching this. And this is the Disney Solo Magic Podcast. And this is our panel on Epcot. And it was so fun. So let's get into it. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Disney Solo Magic Podcast. I'm so excited to talk about Epcot. And we have 3 people to talk about Epcot, which is amazing. We have a friend of the podcast and 2 new people that I have never met before. And I'm just so excited to hear all of their hot takes and solo journeys at Epcot. So thank you so much for being on the Solo Magic Podcast. Why don't we get started with introductions? And we'll start with Francine, who's a friend of the podcast. She's done a couple episodes, and we also got to meet in person at the Disney Character Warehouse when I turned around and there she was. And it was so wonderful. And then we went to Starbucks and realized we lived like a subway stop away from each other. So
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because we had talked earlier in the late winter, and it was like a blizzard in just this area, and so I knew that Francine would know about it because nobody else believed me.
We were in the same winter zone.
Totally. Could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Yes, I'm Francine, also known online as Pixie Dust Fan. That's kind of where you can find me. And yeah, fellow, Canadian, happy to get away from the winter and the snow. And I generally see my Canadian Disney friends in Walt Disney World. I don't see a lot of them in Canada. I see them all in Walt Disney World. So yeah. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited about this topic and to meet the other ladies.
Excellent. And Francine's also a travel agent and she does have her own podcast too.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I do.
All right, April.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Samantha. So I am a new Disney adult. I'm excited to continue going to Walt Disney World a lot more than I have in the past. I'm located in the US, in Kentucky, and so we love our horses and our bourbon and our culture and all those fun things here. And I am happily ever AMJ on Instagram, and that's where you'll find a lot of information from me about Run Disney, which is something I'm getting into, and then also just the parks as well.
That's great. And I'm excited that you identify as like a new Disney adult because so many of us are so used to going that like we forget what it's like to experience so many of the things for the first time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Monica.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I am based in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., so also someone from the States. I'm currently an out-of-state pass holder at Disney. We'll see if that continues. But for now, living the dream. I try to get down there 4 to 5 times a year at least. We'll see what happens this year. Really excited about an upcoming trip in May. On Instagram, I'm better known as Gallivanting and Getaways because I like all travel. It's not strictly Disney. Really like seeing sunsets and fireworks. Disney does both of those really, really well. But yeah, just really happy to be here and chat with everyone.
And the sunsets at Epcot in particular are just
You got
like,
it.
right? Like you can
Yeah.
see that whole, everyone is like shaking their head in awe.
Yeah.
Like that, you can see that whole panorama of orange and fuchsia, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. My favorite time.
Yeah. Is there a favorite park that you like to see the sunset?
I actually would say you basically just described it. It's Epcot at sunset, looking out over the water across sort of the country pavilions. It's just like that particular moment, just taking that all in. It is, for me, that's like sort of Disney perfection.
Totally, totally. I've gone to a few of the concerts in the like American Bandstand, and you will get the sun right in your eye if you sit. Like I got the dining package for a couple of them, and so I'd get the sun right in my eye in that one bench, and I was like, but it's okay because we are going to see the most amazing sunset, and it will all be worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you drive or take like fly when you come to down to Disney?
Great question. I fly. Usually JetBlue, which is really convenient. I'm a big fan of Terminal C in Orlando, which I know is maybe that's a controversial take because of the famous rug out of the sort of regular terminals, but JetBlue flies straight down to Terminal C. It's much easier to get in and out of there, especially checking in. So makes it for a relatively easy trip, even though I'm not that
Yeah.
close.
I mean, is that controversial? I mean, it's gorgeous in there. The first time I flew in there, I was like, "Oh, hey there, MCO. I don't know what happened here, but I will take it."
Yeah. It's really nice.
April, do you fly or do you drive? Because also when you've gone to Orlando.
hmm Yeah, I always fly. I'm not a big driver. I don't like the long drives. I'd rather just put in my little AirPods and sit in my seat and head to the little MCO monorail, as it can be called, and
Yeah.
hop right through that way. So yeah, I definitely don't love the drives.
Francine, how many times have you done Porter? Because I think Porter's the
Mm.
only one that goes to Terminal C.
Yeah. I've
We're
done
just talking
Porter a few
Canadian
times.
Airlines, everyone. Sorry to be exclusionary.
Yeah, that's the only one that goes to that terminal. So I've done it a few times. It's a beautiful terminal. It's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. And in fact, I just booked a Porter flight for May. So so that I'm flying in there and I'm flying home another airline. So I'll go into
Mhm.
one terminal and out of the other. But yeah, I love that terminal. It's beautiful. I
It
wish it
is.
had the rug because I feel like that's just, you have to have the rug, but yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Monica will also be there in May, so maybe you two can
Mhm.
see if you're around at the same time. Oh, and you're also going in May, right, April?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's a popular time.
okay. Well, I'm
Samantha,
going in April, so there you go. Have fun hanging out without me, guys. So
We all
let's
actually plan this to be in the podcast at the
Right.
same time so we can travel plan at the same
yeah.
time.
when there's like the group chat when we were trying to arrange this, you all had a separate group chat and you're like, but you know what? Let's all go and exclude Samantha. That sounds fun. All right, why don't we just get into it by figuring out like how you think about Epcot. Can you describe the park in 3 words? Who wants to go first?
I I don't mind going first.
Okay.
I couldn't, you know what the problem is? Epcot is such a beautiful and amazing park, but coming up with just 3 words was very, very difficult for me. And I don't think they do it justice. But I came up with educational, interesting, and relaxing.
Mm.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I also had come up with educational and I was like, I need to frame it that it's like not in a nerdy way. And I was like, maybe it is
It's not a
though.
boring
So
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Not a boring way.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. Yes.
That's
Uh
it.
yeah. Monica, do you have one? Or do you have 3?
I also was struggling to come up at least with my third, but I'd say my first 2 are vibes. You probably can tell I'm an elder millennial because that's one of the words I've chosen. Also nostalgia. Just for me, Epcot's the most nostalgic park and what I think of the most because I think it's what I went to most as a child. And then festivals because it
Yes.
feels like they happen so much.
Mhm.
So true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, April.
Okay, so for me, the first word that I thought of was accessible, and not in an accessibility standpoint as far as like walkways and things like that, which it is, but
You're like,
accessible for
it's not
someone
though.
for like someone who's brand new to Disney. It was like
Mm.
the only park that I felt like I could go into and like not feel overwhelmed. Immersive because all of the countries, whoa, it was awesome. And then also educational. I said that too because I am a nerd at heart and I loved like the idea of learning about all the countries. So that was fun.
Yeah. I think the educational point is really like you're right. It's not in a nerdy way, but and you don't even realize you're learning. You have
Mm.
no idea that you're learning things. I don't know if I told you this maybe before, Sam, but I was at my unmagical job years ago. They were having like a trivia contest or something. I can't remember what it was. And we were all in this panel and we had to answer questions. And one of the questions was something about who came up with the alphabet, or I can't remember how the question was framed.
Hmm.
And I hit the buzzer and I was like, the Phoenicians. And I swear everybody just looked at me like, how
How do
on
you know
earth did
that?
you, like, of all the people on the panel, like, how did you know that? And I'm like, if you've ever been on Spaceship Earth, you would have answered it too. Yeah. So
Yeah, but
very educational.
what's also cool, I guess, if people don't like to learn, is that if you didn't want it to be educational, you could also like it's not there to like jam it down your throat, but when you're there, you're like, oh, am I learning things? Am I like being immersed in this type of like
Mhm.
immersive immersion that's really great. This like learning about different cultures and things without even realizing it, which I think is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
You don't even know you're learning, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of, there was a friend of mine, a close family member. He was at a trivia night, and he was the oldest out of all his like 30-year-old. I was gonna say cast members, workmates, and he got all the Disney questions, and they were like, "How do you know this?" And he's like, "I don't even want to get into how I know this level of Disney." So thanks for that.
Yep.
But anyway, it comes in handy to everybody. So I kind of cheated because in one of the other panels I had, somebody like did a phrase in 3 words, which I thought was a very
Ooh.
clever way of doing this. So I'm going to use one phrase, which is World Showcase. And then I was also thinking of like educational, but I moved away from that. And then I also thought festivals. And for me, the festivals are, yes, the food, but also the theming. I mean, right now we're in the Flower and Garden Festival, so like the greenery, the music, and it's just such a great place to go for those festivals. And like kind of like April was saying, like the entry is kind of low, not cost wise, but like to go and experience it, you don't need to like know the whole culture of everything to be able to go and enjoy the festival, any of the festivals.
I think that's like the nice thing about right? Like, yes, there's food and drink focus at the festival, but there's also like music and entertainment, like the Festival of the Arts. You have Broadway performers, you've got the topiaries and Flower and Garden. Food and wine is like a little less, I think, well-rounded in that way, but they're
Yes.
all great.
Monica and Francine, I wonder if you have a ranking of the festivals. April, I feel like we need to get you back next year for you to do your ranking, right?
I just need to go every month. I think that's what
Yes.
we need to just like get me an annual pass stat. Where's my husband when I need him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will hold off on your ranking. I mean, you're welcome to rank, but I don't think you have a four ranking yet. Francine and Monica, what are your festival rankings?
Mm. Monica, you go first.
Okay.
I gotta think about my 3 and 4.
I've thought about this actually. I would say Flower and Garden is my number one. I might be biased because my birthday is in May, and so I sort of am like, oh,
Ah,
it's the time I get to go for my birthday. But I'd say Festival of the Arts number two, just because I do think the entertainment is really great. I have a harder time between Food and Wine and Festival of the Holidays. I'm gonna say Food and Wine, but it's only because I've only been to Festival of the Holidays once. So I've been to Food and Wine more times, so I feel like I have to say it by default.
okay, no pressure.
Makes sense. So I'm gonna say Festival of the Arts is my favorite, and I think part of that too is because of the weather earlier in the year. It's actually nicer to walk around, and I love that one. Followed by, but it's a close second
Yeah.
to Flower and Garden. Like I can't decide which one I like better. Um, and then I'm not a big holiday person, but I really, it's a bad a hot take or whatever, but I don't really love Food and Wine. I loved Food and Wine the first 2 or 3 years they did it. And now it's too much. It's too many people. It's too busy for me that I would almost prefer the Festival of the Holidays over the Food and Wine.
Well, and the complaint that I've had about Food and Wine, which I've talked about on the podcast, is like the food isn't seasonal to the hot weather of Florida anymore. It's one thing if it's like 2 weeks in the fall and you're like, oh, look, it's sunny. But if
Yes.
it's like 4 months and you're eating like beef bourguignon, like, no. And I think that because they've gotten rid of so many programming post COVID with sommeliers and things like that, like, I don't drink, but I would have gone to a chef demonstration. I would have even gone to like a wine lecture. It's like, well, what are you doing there now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
April, do you have a sense of like which festival you would want to rank first or go to?
Yeah, I definitely have done a lot of research. I'm a research
Okay.
bug.
Okay, great. Go
So
for
I
it.
know all of the things without the experience. I think that my number one would be Festival of the Holidays. I love Christmas. I love
Yeah.
Christmas time. I was really excited for the tree to be up when I went to Epcot that day, and it was not up yet, and I was very sad, but no big deal. So Festival of the Holidays would probably be first, followed very closely by Flower and Garden Festival. Just because I think it's going to be so pretty, that's why I pushed for May. Then probably Festival of the Arts third, and Food and Wine probably last. Uh, I just haven't had a lot of propensity to want to go to the Food and Wine Festival. It just isn't something that's like calling to me. But the other three are very, very close tied, and then Food and Wine at the bottom there.
Yeah. I also want to thank a random woman on the Skyliner a few years ago who told me that her least favorite was Food and Wine, and I felt like that gave me permission to also like admit I didn't love Food and Wine Festival, and like recognize how like spoiled we are by Flower and Garden and just how gorgeous the landscape is. Like, I really miss it. I really miss it when those plants go away.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm interested what your experience is like going to Epcot solo, and especially in comparison if you have gone with other people. Like, what is it like to be there on your own?
I can go first since this is my only experience at Epcot was solo.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think now I'm jealous for that. Like I'm excited to go with my friends in a couple months, but I also don't want them to ruin my plan and my pathway and my lightning lane for Guardians and all the things that I want to do. It was great to go to Epcot, but it was overwhelming in the sense that I missed so much and I didn't know I was missing it. So I'm very embarrassed to say that I took all the pictures with the PhotoPass folks in front of China and Mexico and all those other pavilions, but I thought that they were props. I did not know that there were things inside of the giant buildings. And I was very
Oh.
sad about it. And knowing that I walked past Donald Duck and I didn't meet him, that also makes me very sad. I did do a lot though because there was so much to do. I went to a lot of the booths. It was food and wine still at the time. I was able to get on Guardians, and I had some awesome cast members pixie dust me in a way that has like forever changed my view of Disney and all the different things that could be experienced there. I was walking up to Spaceship Earth, and I couldn't even get past the ball without crying because I felt so excited that I was there. I was an adult. I had all this free time to do exactly what I wanted to do. Even before any of the podcast existed, I was like, I'm here by myself. I can do all these fun things, and I'm really excited about it. And the cast member really thought something was genuinely wrong. She just came out with tissue. She walked around to give it to me. I was just like, no, I'm just really excited to be here. I'm really excited. It's my first time at this park. And she did some sort of like telepathic thing, I think, with the other cast member because while she was comforting me with tissue, he was setting up lightning lane access for me and VIP fireworks seating and all these fun things like for me to have just because I was so overwhelmed. And I work in my day job with engineers. And so I have some students who've even become Imagineers. And so I was just thinking about the work that I do in a very small part pours into these students that are here now doing these things for their full-time jobs. And Epcot's a part of that. And so walked in, had the little fingerprint thing for the first time, and just kept crying the whole day. It was excellent. But I think that the idea of going to a park and just walking around without anyone slowing you down or speeding you up, one or the other, eating when you're hungry, not eating when you're not, getting a drink if you want to sit down and you want to go to GO82 and sit in there or okay, we're going to get a drink at this booth and then keep walking. And so it could easily be the greatest day of your life if you know what to do. And I think I know that now. So this trip coming up is with friends for a couple days, but I changed my flight so I can stay a few extra days to have that solo component because I am so greedy for that. And I want to do all four of the parks in one day by myself and go at my own speed. So
I love that. But I want to correct you about something because you said like it could be the best day of your life if you know what to do. And I think that you pointed out it could be the best day of your life if you don't know what to do either.
you're so right.
Right?
Because I had no idea what I was doing and I had the most wonderful day. You're
Yeah.
so right.
Yeah. And like, yeah, you didn't get to go into all the like country pavilions, but like what a wonderful surprise. Now every time you get to go to like
Mhm.
experience something else, because that's the problem that people have when they go to Walt Disney World just generally at first. And I think especially with parents because it's so expensive and they want to do so much with their kid when they're there that you push to do so much that you start to like lose that magic. And like just being under that ball and like feeling all the feels like here's that beautiful example of like how um that can make dreams come true too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also it's not greedy to go by yourself or to take days by yourself. And so get that out of your mind.
What a
Yes,
wonderful
ma'am.
story. What a
Yeah.
wonderful story, April. Like I had goosebumps listening to you and just your joy at being there. That's so wonderful.
And like that's the thing that I think we on this call obviously know, but the magic that cast members bring to our experiences, the
Yeah.
things that they do that seem like, you know, so far above and beyond, like that's just the standard for them. And they're going to try to make your day the best that it can be. And just crying as an adult in front of a giant golf ball, i.e., Spaceship Earth, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go in here and get a tissue. She came out to hand me one. And that, even if I hadn't gotten the lightning lanes or the fireworks access or anything, the fact that she saw that I was upset or in the moment overwhelmed and she wanted to help. And I'll never forget the cast member Sarah. She's so sweet and she's from Michigan, so I'll never forget her.
Did you
Oh.
give her a cast compliment in the app?
I gave her 4.
Okay, okay, good.
I Love
I
that.
walked up to guest relations inside the park and I put 3 in the app. So yes, I hope that she got as many kudos as she could get.
Yeah, cast members are amazing, and that's why when I've had the solo stories and it's like you don't really feel like you're alone unless you want to be because the cast members are so excited for you to be there. And when you're an adult, like you can answer their questions and you can ask for information and they can provide all this extra information. And it's like, yes, I want you to have an amazing time. So that's a great
Absolutely.
story.
I love that.
Okay, well, who's going to follow that story? Well, so what is your experience like going to Epcot solo versus with others?
Uh, yeah, I can go. My whole life was really been going with others. I only started going solo maybe 10 years ago. Um, and it was almost by default. I was there to meet friends and I decided to fly in a couple days early just to try it out. Um,
Not to be greedy.
Not to be greedy, I was just trying it out. Um, and like the first day I was like, this is amazing. I I had no idea what a trip could be like on my own. And, so that couple of days tacked on to the beginning became, leaned into, well, why don't I just do a whole week by myself? And now I treasure those trips by myself because they're so amazing. And Epcot is one of my favorite parks to go to solo. Because I find when I'm there solo, because I go so often, the attractions aren't the big draw for me. I only go on attractions if there's not a big line. Like I don't buy lightning lanes and I'm not I've ridden Guardians once, that's enough for me. So for me it's more about wandering and shopping and looking at the merch. And I'm with you, April. Like I knew there were things in the buildings, but I never, until I went solo, did I really explore those pavilions properly. Like when you're there with people, you just kind of graze through the front. I didn't realize there were things all the way at the back that I hadn't seen or explored before. And that to me is one of the biggest differences when I'm there by myself is I have the freedom to just keep going a little deeper into those pavilions if they're interesting to me.
Mhm.
And I don't have to ask anybody else if like, do you want to go in here? Do you want to grab a drink? Do you want to sit on that bench over there and watch the performers or whatever? I don't have to ask that. I just do it. Yeah.
Especially when, well, in my case, like if you say to someone, "Oh, do you want to do this?" The answer is yes. So if they don't say yes, you're like, "Oh, sorry, then I guess you need to keep walking because I'm going to sit on this bench
Yes, right?
and eat my sushi donut."
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely very free.
And
Yeah.
there's so many things to look at and explore that when you're there by yourself, like it just fills up the whole day. Like you can never really be like feel like lonely or alone because you have all these like histories like literally surrounding
Mhm.
you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I knew it, it was dark outside, and I was like, where did the day go?
Mm.
I've done all these things, and there's still more things I didn't get to do, but it's dark, and I was here the whole day and did not feel bored once. So, yeah, I
Y-
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Monica?
I definitely agree that like I just spend more time trying to like take in the atmosphere, roaming around the various pavilions. I think that's one of the nice things about Disney generally. Like I've heard from my non-Disney fan friends that it's like, what you keep going back, like what is there to do?
You keep going
And I
back.
think yes, I do. But I think that's the nice thing is like even though I've gone so many times, like there is always something new or different, whether it's like a performance, but like as Francine was saying, like I just went to the back of the China Pavilion maybe for the first time.
Isn't it
Like,
amazing?
and I'm like, oh, there's something all the way back here. Like there's a store. Like I went in and like got a little souvenir for it's just like I hadn't taken the time to do it until recently. And I think like every single trip there's something like that I find. So I do find like just sort of the time to take in the vibes, if you will, is enjoyable. I do still prioritize the rides even when I'm solo. I just am more on like my own schedule versus thinking
Yes.
about what are the rides and the times that like someone else might be more comfortable with. But yeah, I'm a big ride person. Um, so definitely still doing that. But usually when I'm traveling with a friend or my spouse, like it's more about like ensuring that we hit all the big things and like usually that's like making sure I forget who said this, Francine or April, but like what food and drink do they want to eat when they want to eat it versus like I don't know when do I want to bop by a booth, right? Like there's it's just a little bit more freeing. I love going with friends and family, but there is something to be said about the freedom of going solo.
Yeah, and I find that even when I'm like rushing between rides, if I'm there with somebody else, I feel like this pressure for us both to get there. Whereas when
Yeah.
I'm by myself, I'm like, okay, yes, the pressure's still there if there's like a lightning lane or whatever. But also, I'm like, I can talk to a cast member if I'm 5 minutes late, and they'll let me in. And like, you're only here once. Well, you're not. And appreciate the walk. But I was on my phone when you were talking, Monica, because when you said I only went to the back of China for the first time. So I like to go to into France because in the waiting room for the Beauty and the Beast sing along, they actually have costumes from opera, but also different movies like Cinderella and Maleficent, which is really cool. And I want to get some extra pictures. And so I did that. And then I went into the store to like look around and I was coming out. And for the first time, I saw this lady in a window. Oh, you can't really
Oh,
see it that well. Oh, sorry. This lady
oh,
in a window. Have you seen her at all?
No.
no, that is new to me.
Yeah, it's this old lady mannequin in a window. She's like, obviously, she's French, so she's holding a glass of wine. She's not holding a cigarette, but she definitely is. And it's this artistic window of like this diva. And I walked by it and nobody else was looking. And I'm like, how long has she been here for? It didn't seem new. And it was just such a amazing revelation that there are these new things I'm still finding.
I love that. Also, you just taught me something. I didn't know that any of that was in the Beauty and the Beast section in the back of France. So that's something that should probably put on my list.
And you don't need to like go to the show. It's just in the like lobby, and you can't bring in food and the like drinks or food. They're quite strict about that. But it's really cool if you're interested in like costumes.
I love that.
Yeah, the more you know. So let's talk about if you like your ride and attraction strategy, and we'll start with you, Monica, since you did identify rides as like something that you're going for. So what is your ride or attraction strategy when you're there solo?
I am a big fan of Lightning Lane, regardless actually of whether I go solo or not. I think in part because, I mean, I'm not local, right? Like for me, it is usually worth the cost to do it. But usually that looks like buying a Guardians single pass. I have warmed up.
Everyone's nodding.
Yeah, I've warmed up to that ride considerably. And now even solo I go, whereas before it was sort of like, I guess I'll do it. Hopefully I won't get nauseous. And then I will do multi-pass as well. And I usually go for Soarin', Spaceship Earth, back to the nostalgia. Like for me, that's like the pinnacle of it. And then I probably would say Frozen. And that's mostly because as a solo, you can do single rider on Test Track, which is actually probably my second favorite ride, but in terms of like maximizing the least amount of time I'm in line, that is sort of my approach.
Yeah. I'm not really a ride person, but with Guardians as the single one, I'm always like, okay, we'll do that because I do enjoy Guardians quite a lot. I've never been in the main line. um, yeah. So you nodded to that too, April. Do you have like a ride or attraction? I guess strategy isn't the right, or do you have like a plan for your upcoming trip?
I have an Excel spreadsheet with times included.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
I
I
am a
feel
big
like
rope
I mean,
dropper.
sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you because I feel like this is where the idea of like an audio podcast isn't great because I know a lot of people like they've shared their spreadsheets with me and I just think it would be so cool to be like to do like a whole panorama of planning spreadsheets because I think it will validate a lot of like eldest daughter planning vibes, you know?
Yes.
100%. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, I am similar to Monica. I am a big rides person. I'm a big thrill rides person. So Guardians doesn't make me anywhere near nauseous. I think it could be even faster. It could go even higher. All of the fun things that are in that ride are things that I love. I am a big rope dropper though. At any theme park that I go to, I will be in the line an hour before early entry starts. That's just what I'm going to do forever until the end of my days. I also enjoy Soarin' and Spaceship Earth. I loved the slow moving educational pieces of Spaceship Earth. Like that was one of the best things that I liked about it, and thanking the Phoenicians, of course. But I also really enjoyed the fact that Soarin' had the ability for you to see different things. I'm excited for it to change. I won't be there at the time frame where it will change over for Soarin' Across America, but I'm excited to get on that again. I will be riding as many rides as I can in any solo trip that I have because that's my priority. I can go 5, 6 hours without eating something. It doesn't really bother me. I don't have to have a drink. I don't have to have anything but water. And so that's what I kind of focus my attention towards are the attractions. And then if there are any shows, I know that the dates that we're going, the concert, the flower, what is it called?
Garden Rocks.
Garden Rocks, not even close. The Garden Rocks concert headliner for the dates that I'm going changed a little bit. So we're just going to go and see whoever's playing. Before we were going to do the dining package, but now that's no longer necessary for us and what we want to see. But yeah, rides are going to be my top priority. And then if there are any festival booths with food that I'm interested in, that's number two. And then everything else, we'll let the rivers in take us where it may.
That's cool. I mean, you should eat. But with the with the different food festival booths like everywhere, I think it's a lot easier to like not have to plan like a whole meal thing because you can go from Remy's to Frozen and like pass all these like little, little food booths and like enjoy that part of Epcot as well.
Yeah, and that was really helpful for me when I passed the fish and chip shop,
Yeah.
I was hungry at that moment. But then I got to meet Pooh, who I love. I love Pooh so much. He's one of my favorites, second only to Donald Duck, who is literally number one, and I will fight anyone who believes that he is not. Um, and I got to meet him, and there was no line. You know, it was just a great experience because I was able to go in there and spend a lot of time with him. And then, him as a character, just being able to kind of relive some of those memories. But yeah, just moseying around the UK, I didn't know what was going on back there. I kept walking and you just run into stuff like that.
And you got a great pair of ears. You have a very cute pair of Pooh ears.
Yes. Love
Oh,
them. They're awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. How about you, Francine? Do you have a ride or attraction strategy?
Well, yeah, because I'm not, my strategy is I go with the flow. So I love, I do Spaceship Earth usually later in the day when there's not much of a line. And I'll go back over and I do Nemo because, you can kind of walk on it. There's usually not much of a line or the land. I do all of those. I don't do the Guardians because no. I don't do Spaceship Earth or space mission space.
Oh, no.
Um,
We don't talk
oh
about that.
no.
I've done
No.
the orange, but once when
Mm-mm.
it first opened. And yeah, so I've ridden everything once, but some things never again. Um, but yeah, like for me, I love going on the Three Caballeros in Mexico. So I'm kind of one of those people. I just kind of wander up, and if the wait's like 15 minutes, I'll get in line. If it's longer, I just think, I'll do it next time.
April, do you know about the Donald Duck ride in Mexico?
Please don't make me talk about this. I'm
Okay.
really sad because I did know it was back there and out of the corner of my eye. And in the moment as I'm walking through World Showcase, I see a blurry blue thing with like multicolors on it.
A
Did not know that
poncho.
was Donald Duck in his
Oh.
sombrero and his poncho. And I walked right by it. And I'm really sad to this day. But
Oh,
my consolation is Run Disney folks. If anyone is in the Run Disney community, marathon weekend registration day was yesterday. I was able to get in and I will be running the half marathon, which is Donald's race. So I will be
Nice.
telling him in May that I'm running his race and hopefully he will forgive me for walking by him in November. So I'm
Hopefully
so
he
excited
will.
about it. Hopefully. He's kind of cheeky, so I don't think he will. I think he'll be a little bit upset with me, but I think we'll get past it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, hopes, thoughts and prayers. Monica, you didn't mention Remy's, right? So where does
I
Remy's fit in your?
it doesn't.
Okay, why?
Or maybe skipping ahead to my hot take.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
just say that Remy's, I have not done it since they got rid of the 3D. So maybe it would be fine for me now, but I have a little bit of vertigo
Yeah.
and Remy's and vertigo like do not go hand in hand. So for me, like I think when I went on it, I closed my eyes the majority of the time, and at that point you're like, what's the point?
mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a skip for me, but like I can appreciate that other people enjoy it.
Yeah, I get nauseous really easily, and Guardians I was okay with. Like I have to be very slow getting off, and I take the elevators, and I just very slowly leave that building. But Remy's, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up on
Oh,
this baby
yeah.
ride. Monica, what do you think about the change of the frozen faces?
I was like, am I actually going to notice it? Because I did actually just go on it since the faces have changed. And I had to do a double take to be like, oh, okay, so it's not a projection. It's like actually that they've put on a face. Do I think it looks better? Yes. Was I one of the people who was like, oh no, it's so bad? Also no. So I think it does look better. I think what I realized is like there actually are very few Anna and Elsa animatronics. Like it's predominantly Olaf and the snow monster whose name I'm forgetting.
I don't remember either.
I
Don't
can't
worry.
Yeah.
remember.
And like the troll thing, like it's not actually them. So I had to like really look at the last scene to be like, oh, they actually have upgraded this. It is different. It does look better, I suppose. So, I mean, great. Good job, Disney. I I could have been fine the other way.
Right. That's fair. How about some favorite food? Maybe we could go around and do like a quick round about like the best. I mean, because like the food changes at Epcot all the time. Like, yes, there's restaurants, and I feel like we can and should do a whole episode just on like established Epcot restaurants versus quick service, excuse me, versus like the food festivals. But maybe we could do a quick round about like the best thing that you've eaten at Epcot or the most memorable thing that you've eaten at Epcot, which is tough for me, but I'm going to go last. So,
Oh, I thought you were going to go first so we would
nope.
know. Um, so I'm happy to say one of my absolute favorite things is the nachos in Mexico. I absolutely love them. They're delicious. They hit the spot. Um, I just wish you didn't have to eat them outside with the birds because it kind of that's always a bit of an issue. But my absolute favorite, I know there's festivals, I know there's lots of places, I know there is World Showcase, but the waffle in Connections Cafe is like my right. Like I don't know how people walk by and don't stop in and get the waffle. It's a waffle with some whipped cream and chocolate sauce and strawberries, and it's just perfection. And yeah, and it's in Connections. It's people. It's not fancy, but it's delicious. It's everything. It's
I
everything.
love that. I love that. All
We
right,
should try
who's
it now.
next? Monica?
I am also, I don't know if this is why you said this, Francine, but I'm also a fan of anything that is melty cheese oriented. So my sort of favorite places are Mexico and the France Pavilion. I'd say my favorite thing ever in Epcot is probably, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a cheesy bread bowl at the France Pavilion. It might have been during Food and Wine, but like France always does something cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
bready basically every festival, and I've rarely been like, this was a bad decision. I shouldn't have done this. So I think whatever that cheesy bread bowl thing was, yeah, I'm dreaming of that and the croissant at Flower and Garden.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
April?
Yeah, so mine definitely was those fish and chips in the UK, smothered in malt vinegar with those like really crispy fries, aka chips. I loved it. It was wonderful. And I was full the rest of the day. So great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For me, the first time I went to Disney as an adult in like this stage of my life, this was February 2020. Um, I was there for the Festival of the Arts, and the very first food booth that I went to, I got like bone marrow, a deconstructed key lime pie, and a deconstructed BLT. And they still have those, but they look different. And I remember just being so blown away by the fact that this was available to eat just casually over a garbage can. And I had never had bone marrow before, and it was like the only way I would have had it, like at Epcot, and the creativity and the presentation. And I was like, oh, I just feel like this is home, to have this level of like not yeah, sophistication, but just kind of artistry was really exciting for me. I also don't eat a lot of pork, but it wasn't an empanada, but it was empanada like from the booth that they came out with right after Encanto was really popular. And it was like, a pork sausage something empanada. And that also was just like, wow, this is amazing. Garbage can food is great.
Yep,
Yep.
it
Yep.
is.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so you said that maybe you already shared a little bit of your hot take. I'm interested to know what your other hot takes are, but let's save that for Patreon. So let's go over to Patreon now and have that conversation and then come back to the main feed. Now that we're back on the main feed, I wonder if there is like a special place at Epcot that you like to go to and like experience when you're there solo that really kind of encapsulate what it's like to go to Epcot solo for you.
I think mine has become just recently. You know how they've made that like tree area with the seats out in front of Walt
Yes.
there. I just sitting there is to me, and just like being able to sort of see that he's over there, Spaceship Earth, where World Showcase. Sometimes you can just hear them doing like the Encanto presentations. It just, to me, that's like one of my favorite places to be in Epcot these days.
I love that. I love that.
I would take Francine's answer.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing I would add to it is for me, like particularly like when it's starting to get darker, it's gotten dark and you can watch, oh God, I think it's called Beacons of Light, like on Spaceship Earth, where it's like all lit up. Like at that moment, particularly like if I grabbed like a drink or some food, sitting in that area, like watching it all light up, again, that like takes, even though it's new, for some reason it feels nostalgic to me. And I can't
Yes.
put my finger on why.
That's such a good description.
Well, because I think that it feels like it has always been there, right? Like when they do the projections on the castle, for example, you're like, okay, like that fits the castle, but that's a new type of thing. Whereas the technology of the lights on Spaceship Earth, you're like, oh, of course they've been there since 1982. That only makes a
Yeah.
logical sense. And then if they do Rainbow Connection or another song that's kind of old school Epcot. But yeah, no, you're totally right. It does feel like it's always been like this.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you described that, Monica, because that is the one thing that I was like, when I come back, I'm gonna stand right here and like watch this like show on Spaceship Earth. Like I just when I made my reel after I came back, I had that as like kind of my main backdrop for like the entire reel, and I had it play like this is what dreams are made of, like on like the back end, because I was like, this is what it's about. And so yeah, just like a nighttime projection show of any type, fireworks of any type would be great. But like yeah, just standing right there in front of the ball and having them play the Disney music, that was so cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For me, well, I mean, we kind of started the conversation with this, like the sunset over the water, but on my the wall of my office, not in front of me, but beside me, there is a shot of the Flower and Garden Festival with Spaceship Earth, all of the flowers where the monorail track is, and the flowers in that particular area, and just looking at it is just so gorgeous. And I like deeply miss it when it's not the Flower and Garden Festival, because there's just something that's so, I mean, I remember it with when it said the 50th. And so there's something to me that's just like so kind of embedded in that space. And I miss it when it's not there. And so I always like remember it being there, even if I'm there in a different time of year.
It does feel like they could have some sort of floral around that particular area, and it wouldn't like
Yes.
ruin flower and garden. It would just add to the
Yes.
ambiance every other time.
Yeah. Like why can't they do like a painting one during
Yeah.
or something that's just very like summery during a summer. I don't know why. Like you definitely feel like it's missing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Is there anything else about Epcot that we didn't get a chance to talk about that you wanted to talk about regarding solo experiences that you want other people to like know or do or experience when they're there solo?
I
Mm.
will plug for meeting characters. I don't think it's awkward. I love meeting a character. I love talking to them. Like they interact with your ears or your shirt or, do as much, talking as they can if they're not a face character. But yeah, like don't be afraid to meet the characters because they're excited to talk to you, whether you're by yourself or not.
When I was in my 20s and I went to Epcot, was it Cinderella? Yeah, she was meeting outside of France. So this was about 20 years ago now. That's hard to say. And I had a little orange camera, and I was just like, "Oh, hi!" And she was, and I had Birkenstocks on that were silver and glittery, and she's like, "Oh, your shoes are like my shoes, and your camera's like my pumpkin." And I literally like lost the words. I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool!" I like, and I always think of that moment, even though it was so long ago, because was like so quickly that you became a kid. And I always tell this to adults on the podcast, like their job, the character's job is for you to have a good time. So don't feel like you need to go with a whole monologue for them. They will do that work for you.
That's so true.
Yeah, I love that because you can meet so many princesses and so many
Hmm.
characters at Epcot, and I think that gets lost. So thank you for saying that, April.
Yeah. I think for me, I would say definitely explore the merch at Epcot.
Yes.
There is some very unique Disney merch that you can only get at Epcot in those countries, and you know things that you would never expect that they've got Mickey Mouse on, or Minnie, or just different things in the countries. I think the merch game at Epcot is pretty sweet.
I have family that live in Italy, and we all have a huge amount of Disney Italy merchandise.
Yes.
And when I was there a couple of years ago, I was wearing my like Chow mini skirt, and they're like, Italians don't dress like that. I'm like, this Italian does. But that's a great point, Francine. I'm so glad you said that. I love the shopping at Epcot. And I feel like I promised a listener that we were going to do an episode about shopping at Epcot, which is so amazing. Sounds so great to me. So, anyway,
Yes.
thank you for that. Monica.
I think the only thing I would add is uh, and this isn't only if you're a drinker, but certainly if you do drink. I really like Geo 82 as a solo. I've been both as a solo and not as a solo, but I think it's like one of those places where it's like you're alone, but you can then feel like you are with people even if you've gone solo. A number of times, like the person next to me has just struck up a conversation, and as a solo, you usually get seated at the bar, which is like more sort of setting the stage for that to happen. But the last time I went, I actually ended up a seat over from someone I knew from Instagram, and we were able to switch seats. And like I sat with them for an hour and a half chatting, and it's just sort of like it's a great spot, not just for like the ambiance and the fireworks and um plug for the charcuterie board if you're a charcuterie board person, like so good. But as a solo, just think like it's a good break in the day if you're going to be there too.
It's
Nice.
interesting because Geo 82 has come up in every panel conversation just kind of casually, which is so great that it's whereas like Beacon Barrel, for example, that opened around the same time hasn't. So thank you for that plug. I think that's a great way to end. Thank you, the three of you. This was such a great conversation. I cannot wait to get back to Epcot. I will be there before you all. You might be all hanging out without me, but I will be there before you all. And yeah, this was so great. Thank you so much. Could you remind everyone how they can get in touch with you and follow all of your travels? Francine, why don't you start?
Oh, sure. I am Pixie Dust Fan everywhere online. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, have a blog, all of that stuff. Yes, I'm old school. I still have a blog.
Oh,
You can
okay.
still
She has
find
a
me
blog.
there.
Wait. I want to tell this blog story. She has a blog, but I wanted to find a picture of one of the mosaics in a particular, like, because you can do the mosaic art at most of their resorts. And I wanted to see if I could find a picture of one particular, um, figure. And I kept Googling it and it didn't work. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked, like, can you find me an image? And they directed me to Francine's blog.
I
And I
love
was
that.
like, excuse me, pixie dust? No. And I clicked on it. I was like, yes, this is her blog. So there you go. It might
Hey,
be old school, but ChatGPT was on it. So
yes. So
I mean, that
you
means
got
you've
to
made
see my
it.
yes,
ghost.
that's right. That means you made it. You
That
just
means
pour
you've
out a
made
bottle
it.
of water and we got it for you. So there you
You
go.
got it. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sam, for inviting me to this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so the links to Francine's stuff are down below, as well as the links to our two solo story conversations we've had. April.
So I am so excited that I was able to be here today. Thank you, Samantha, for having me. I am happily ever AMJ on Instagram, and so feel free to follow if you're interested in anything regarding Disney or Run Disney.
Yeah, and that's great. And it's also pretty awesome that you're like, I'm a new Disney adult, but also my socials are all Disney stuff. So there
Yeah.
you go.
And I'm doing all of the things. Disney, take all of my money, please.
Yeah, exactly. Monica?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us and bringing us together. This was really, really enjoyable, and it's so nice to meet everyone here. You can find me on Instagram at gallivanting and getaways. It is mouthy, it is all spelled out, and gallivanting has two L's. But yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it.
No problem. And the links to those are below. So don't worry, you do not need to spell gallivanting. I've spelled it for you and I've double checked to make sure it was spelled right. Yeah, thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you all in person at some point and to keep following your adventures. And hopefully, we'll have another opportunity to chat. This was great. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. As we move into our third year of the podcast, please continue to support the podcast by liking, reviewing, subscribing on any and all of the platforms that this streams, Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Becoming a Patreon member is also an option and also just a wonderful way to support me and the podcast. Much appreciated to all the members, both free and paid. I can't wait to continue making content for you as we move into our third year.